toenails and blistered heels, salt stains streaking down my face. Sun is beating, muscles scream, but I'm moving at my pace. Run the riot! Leave the world behind! Run the riot! You free your body and your mind!
All right, today on the Run the Riot podcast, fresh off of Badwater. I mean, pretty fresh. Jackson Wolf, what's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going? Back in Las Vegas, getting a little bit rest. Then I'll fly to Mississippi and take a couple of days there and check out a course for a future race in Louisiana. And then I'm off to Colorado to do several adventures out there.
Yeah, so you're not taking a breath, man.
No, I am nonstop. I probably won't get a break until August, and it's going to be a short one.
Oh man, so we're recording this middle of the day, Friday. When did you finish Badwater?
I finished early afternoon 2 days ago. It was Thursday. I don't know. Maybe it was Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. I finished Wednesday, and I guess it's Friday. So yeah, it doesn't feel like it's been 2 days, but I've had 2 good nights sleep. But with any big ultra, there's a lot of hormonal disturbances and adrenal dysfunction. I'm gonna be a little off for a few days. My legs feel good. Body feels good. Don't have any injuries or lasting pains, but your head and your hormones are out of whack for a bit.
Yeah. Had fun kind of watching, our mutual friend Walker, who also finished Badwater, was doing some posts and everything and keeping everybody informed. And it was pretty fun kind of watching the journey out there, man. So before we even go back to the past, I mean, how did it go? This is your second time running Badwater. How would you rate it?
The course this year, we had a much significant cooler temps this year. I don't think it ever got above 115. Well, probably 110. So it was a very relatively cool year. And you can look at the competitive times up front, and they were running near record times. Nobody set any new records. For me, I had sleep issues again. It's really rare, and I don't know why it only happens in this race. And it was a new problem for me last year. It was something I resolved and practiced with. I did a couple extra hundreds, and I had great success with having a planned sleep and then feeling great for another 100 miles. Cocodona, I didn't have sleep issues. I just slept when I was tired. Something about Badwater. People say sometimes it's the heat, or maybe if you start out bad and your nutritional deficits or any type of hydration or electrolyte imbalances, it could just make you more tired in that way. But naps weren't doing any good. Caffeine was completely ineffective. I couldn't feel anything. So what I did, when I was tired and started stumbling, and I noticed I wasn't even making progress. I thought I was moving, and feels like I'm moving, but I'm asleep. So I'm almost standing still. So I just stop and I have to take a nap again, and I'd speed back up. So I'd make the time up. But 2 years in a row, I lose a lot of downtime because sitting there trying to reset my brain again. And with all the experience, and it's hard, like I try to practice and figure out what it is. And then I think I have it fixed and I don't. So this is kind of like the Badwater curse of why do I fall asleep in this race, but not in any others?
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things that you seem like the kind of guy that you want to kind of keep trying to figure it out. Are you want to go back?
I'm definitely going back, but I'm not going to be an every year kind of person. And also I want, it's a very competitive entry list and a lot of people get in. I want to take years off, alternate years probably, just to give other people a spot. And next year I want to crew friends. Michael DeBarco, one of my friends, that's paced me, that crewed paced me at Badwater. He should be applying next year, and I think he's got an excellent chance to get in. So I intend to go crew him, and then so I'll probably go back in 2027 or 28. And I think that's a great plan, just to keep from getting too burned out on the racing. Is race it 1 year, crew it 1 year, work staff, volunteer, do something like that, and flip it up every 3 years.
Well, kind of that missing that year kind of restokes the fire, gets you hungry. You know, you're there in the middle of it, but not racing. So you kind of you there, but you still get that you wish you were running it. So it gives you that little extra motivation for it.
Right. A little bit less pressure. I thought I was going to be at the best fitness of my life this year, and I was less fit and more weight than last year. So I tried
Yeah,
not to let that hurt my confidence, but I wasn't fit like I should have been. Maybe a
yeah,
couple of
yeah,
years I can dedicate a full spring of training to just
yeah.
Badwater. So
What do
because
you?
I did have a
Yeah, it
lot of
was
200s and a lot of races leading up to spring.
that was the next question. I was like, what was that? Probably because I know you've been racing like crazy. It's just the types of races you were running probably didn't lend itself very well to crushing Badwater.
Yeah, I was fresh. I wasn't, not that I went in fatigued, but I didn't have as many good quality training blocks. And
Yeah.
that's the price you pay. If you want to race a lot, you're going to get less quality training. You'll gain experience and you have a lot more fun, but you're going to be at this kind of stagnant plateau for a bit. And that's just what I prefer to race. And people always, the traditional method is you train to race. I do the opposite. I race to train. I don't like long runs at all. I'd rather just sign up for a 50K and go do a
Yeah.
race, or I'll do a 200 mile to train for a 200 mile. So, and I don't
Yeah.
know how many, I almost kind of lost count. I think I've had 5 or 6 plus milers already this year. They were spaced out enough, but, and,
Yeah.
you know, a 200, a 250, and now the 135. So, and my body's held up great. I'm extremely durable. I don't get injured. I don't have, nagging problems that limit me. But I do need to kind of be a little bit more selective and sometimes say, hey, I need a good quality 6 weeks here of training
Mm.
and not have any races interfering. So I can go in a little bit more confident, a little bit more fresh and fit.
You can get some specificity in training. That's one of the benefits of not running, unless you can find a shorter race that's very similar to the course you're training for, But I'm a big fan of racing to train, and I encourage the runners that I coach oftentimes, like, all right, you've got a 50-mile long run coming up here, about a 50K here, and find a race, It's a dress rehearsal for your run. You can try out your nutrition, you can test things out and all, or you can run it by yourself, if you really want to. But I encourage them to find a race, because you always, you push a little more. It's a little more going through the process, the logistics, and everything else, and you run with people instead of just doing it yourself. Yeah. So let's do a big rewind, man. You and I know each other from South Louisiana, from, I don't know, back in, I don't know, the 2015, 2016, around that time. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it was either the Q50 races by Cesar or maybe some of Walker's races, like the 6 and 12 mile series. I did a lot of
Yeah.
those. I don't really remember what my first Louisiana races are. Rougarou was an early one for me.
Yeah, I think my first 100 was in 20 Rougarou, and I never did any the Q50 races. I know Cesar and stuff, and we've talked, but I've just never done any of those. But I've done some of Walker's races, Beast for a Day, and stuff like that. And
Yeah, I
and
was
so I
out
don't know.
there
You
two
and I
years.
were in a lot of the same circles and all that, running around. And so this is interesting. I remember you and I having a conversation. I don't even remember if it was in person or online, but I just remember you were crushing, like, I say shorter races, but shorter ultras, the 50Ks and 50 mile. And I just remember you said this, and it's funny because of what I see you doing now. You're doing great now. But you said, I'm really good at the shorter races, but man, I'm not as fast at the hundreds or 100 and beyond or something like that. And then I see you just out there just crushing it. I'm like, I guess you figured it out.
Yeah, it did take a while, and this is a good topic because I almost gave up on it.
Really?
I think my first 100 mile race, a little bit short before, I was in mountain biking. I did Ironmans.
Didn't know
And
that. Okay.
Ironman they're usually considered, the triathlon world, that's the ultimate distance to do. But when you move into ultra running, it actually becomes a very short race because for me, they were 10 to 12 hours. And even if you're back in the pack, they're only 17 or 18 hours. And that's still incredibly short. So it's more like 100K. But I was doing those, so I was a little bit used to the distance. But the 100 mile, early on, I had big nutritional problems. I'd always have stomach cramps. It just wasn't mentally, I wasn't able to mentally push myself past, say, the 100K mark, you just get tired and bored. My first 100 miler was in 2016 in Utah, the Zion something, whatever. It's just Zion 100. And I had a great race. I think it was 23 hours or so, even with a lot of downtime with some IT band issues. And then I did Western States. I got accepted incredibly early. So in a way, I can't say it was a waste because I finished, and I'm very proud of the finish, and I had a great time. But doing Western States was early in my ultra running career. And so I am continuing to apply, and I want to go back as a more experienced runner. But I think the 3 or 4, I had a lot of DNFs. I had more DNFs at hundreds than I had successes.
Oh, wow.
I said, hey, I'm just terrible at this. I'm not going to do hundreds anymore. I'm going to stick to 50K, 50 mile. And Mississippi 100 was the turning point. When they came out, I had done the 50, they've had the 50 mile for almost 30 years. And they opened up 100. I said, I have to do this. It's 30 minutes away from where I grew up. And this has got to be my hometown race. And so I went out, and Walker Higgins won that race, and Michael DeMarco was second. And I had a lot of fun, like running with them and competing with friends. So, but I took my time. I went easy on the pace. I ate. I like sat down and had a Waffle House waffle. I don't know, mile 75. I probably sat there for 40 minutes. Just kept really good mentally. It had no stress, no pressure, and had a phenomenal last 15 miles where I think my last 15 miles were faster than my first 15.
Dude, that's great.
Ended up went from 5th to 3rd. And that really motivated me. And I had a couple of more hundreds lined up, and I won the next 200 milers with pretty great times. And I was just on a roll, and I said, hey, I finally figuring out my nutrition. I switched nutrition types. Now I use mostly Hammer nutrition products, and their maltodextrin profile. It just works with me. I don't have any issues with it. And I use a lot of the supplements. So I almost never have nutrition issues, or if I do, it's a very isolated case. But I had some success at 100, so I said, hey, maybe I can do this. And that gave me the confidence to open up bigger challenges and just keep reaching, and then I did my first 200 miler. Actually had a terrible, very painful race, but it was a very pleasurable race. I loved it. I loved the experience. I had bad blisters, the skin peeled, degloved from my toes, and just extreme pain for like the last 7. But I had just a determination to finish. And so I found over the last few years that the harder races that I choose, and I haven't finished them all, but just choosing the super difficult races just to give you more confidence and something extra to strive for, it's given me more enjoyment for the races I'm not good at, because even if I really suck at something, I can still enjoy it because of the process of growing.
Yeah. No, that's huge, man. I don't know. So many people, they just give up and they don't continue to try. And part of the fun of doing ultras is figuring out the puzzle. And this, if you don't fuel the engine, you can't finish the race. And so it sounds like, one of your major issues was nutrition. And, I talk to people all the time and say, here's what I use, but you've got to figure out what works for you. Like you said, you found Hammer and it worked really well for you. It works with your stomach and man, that's just fantastic. We had a discussion on just did 100 this past weekend here in Tulsa. And one of the guys was talking about he used to use Perpetuum pretty
That's
regularly.
One of my favorites. That's what I do.
That's funny. And you see, I tried it and I couldn't, my stomach just wouldn't do well with it. And does it make you sweat where it burns your eyes like crazy? Cause that's what it did for me.
No, I don't. I'm a minimal sweater. I do sweat in the South some when I stop and it's humid. In the West, I never sweat at all because
Really?
my sweat rate is lower than the evaporative rate. So anything that comes out is instantly gone. But I only sweat if I get in the sauna, and then it's just small beads. Like most people, when they get in the sauna, they're probably pouring down and everything's wet. I'll just get beaded up a little bit. So it helps me. I don't have to hydrate as much because that's 40% of your body's fluid loss that I'm not losing. So I'm only losing fluid and urine and respiration. So I hydrate significantly less than most people, which also helps because I don't kind of have a pyloric stenosis where my stomach doesn't empty as fast and the upper intestine doesn't empty as fast. So I drink and then my stomach fills up and I get cramps and then I can't eat and then I bonk.
Yeah.
And so that kind of only happens like at Badwater when I'm trying to drink so much extra. Then I get stomach cramp. My stomach is full. So this year's race, I had to throw up a lot. But I was throwing up extra water. And I can't say that I was sick or nauseous. I didn't have that nauseous head feeling, but I might try to take a jelly gag and just throw up the water. So just a quick aside is this year I made the mistake of overhydrating and over salting myself. I know my ratios, the salt ratio I need, and it's very low. My salt content of my sweat is low, and then my sweat rate is low. So I started out with both of those being too high, and I made myself sick. But I recognized what was happening and fixed it in time. But yeah, anyway, I just don't sweat. I don't have problems. The Perpetuum does great for me. Last year I used that. I made a big premix 1-gallon bottle, and it was already made, so that way everything was the correct balance, right? They didn't have to try to make it each time. I passed on that this year. I regret it. I was just going to take the little chew tablets, and then I got to where I really couldn't chew them after a while, and it was kind of difficult to think about it every 15 minutes. So I didn't have that Perpetuum last year. That was giving me an extra 100 calories an hour consistently, and I was having to make that up with gels or other eating, and I got behind on the eating, and I bonked. So there's things that I know. And when I go into a race, I know what I need to do. I have the exact plan, but it's a huge thing is executing on those plans because things change and your mind goes. And the crew is a big help because they can think, they have the fresh mind to think and to help you stay on plan. But however, the race is going to change. Your needs are going to change. You always have to adapt. So, and I like chaos. I like to just wing it. I'm not an organized person. Most people have huge binders of plans of what to do and what they're going to, and I'm like, I'll just tell my crew about 5 minutes what I need and we just go on. There's no plan.
You seem, I'm surprised at that because you seem like you would be a planner.
I'm very analytical. I've started with coaching. We can talk about later, but I can give great detailed information or write great workouts, but I have a difficult time doing those workouts myself or following that information myself. Like I know the material and with my experience, I know how to instruct someone to do it. I'm just a random person. I'm neurodivergent. My brain loves chaos and so I don't like planning things. I just like to just show up and see what happens. And that's entertaining for me. But it hurts sometimes. It's high risk, high reward. I'll show up to a race and I'm reading the runner's guide, 30 minutes before the race while I'm having the coffee. And, I might or may not drop bags. So I have a lot of DNFs that are silly, just because I get somewhere and I don't have a jacket. But
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I have fun like that. I like the mystery.
living on the edge.
That's probably a good challenge for a race. I don't think anybody would really want to do it, but just like with drop bags, have a mystery bag. Show up to an aid station and your drop bag's a mystery bag. You might have a egg salad sandwich or sushi, or maybe you have some candy, whatever.
I kind of like that. Like let somebody else pack your a mystery bag for you, and you just put it over there. You're like, I don't know, we'll see what it is.
Or kind of like the Santa exchange. Everybody switch drop bags, see what happens. It'd be a terror. It's fun. It's only fun in theory,
Dude, that would be an interesting. We're going to talk about the races you're directing. Have a race where you pick numbers and people get each other's drop bags at one of the aid stations.
Yeah, that'd be fun. It'd be terrible for. I mean, it'd be fun if it was like for a 5 or 10 mile. You wouldn't need it, but people would get wrecked on the hundreds.
You'd get derailed because you got somebody's like oatmeal pie. That's it. Just an oatmeal pie. I need my shoes. That's good. Well, man, so you're from Mississippi originally?
Yep. Grew up, high school, most colleges. I went to a ton of different universities in Mississippi, but I was there most of my life. And I did some random traveling. I didn't live anywhere other than when I was in the Marines and living in North Carolina. I didn't really live anywhere until 2018. I moved out west and mostly headquarters in Vegas. Since 2018, I've lived in 3 or 4 different states every year. I bounce around, and I still do that. I come back to Mississippi and Louisiana in the winters. This previous winter, I was mostly in Flagstaff, Arizona, lived there for a year. I just moved out of my house there, and I'll spend July in Colorado, August. I think I'll be in Oregon for quite a bit, September, California, Arizona again. And then next year, I'm going to spend a lot more time in Mississippi, October through March. A lot of the races I want to do, of course, I'm going to be there for the Mississippi 100, which will be the 4th year. And I hosted my first race last year as a race director, the Live Oak 50K. It was an urban ultra. We started at a ultra reality brewery in Biloxi, Mississippi, went down to the beach, ran past the lighthouse, and, ran down to the beach with the sun coming up, and over the bridge to Ocean Springs, along that beach, into the state park there, and then around downtown Ocean Springs, which is a really beautiful area, back to Biloxi. And it was a great route, and everybody loved it, and an exceptional turnout. I sold out in 2 weeks. I got more awards made and opened up maybe 10 more spots, and those sold out like the day that I opened them.
Nice.
I didn't have many to open to start with. It was probably 40, but I'm going to increase the capacity based on the permits this year. And, maybe we'll have 60 this year, double the entries. And I've got other ideas for other races as well. So I'm going to come back to Mississippi and plan those. And the next big project, and I'm going to get to work on it this week now that my racing's a little bit done, is I want to do a last person standing in Louisiana. Mississippi and Louisiana doesn't have last person standing events yet. There's a couple kind of in the works. Mutts in Mississippi's doing a little fun run, but I would love to get a full traditional by the book rules. Your 4.1 miles every hour, and I've got a course laid out, and I think I'm gonna do it today. I'm gonna contact and check out permits and get permissions, and then work on it and go ahead and get that race posted up. But I intend to have it in Mandeville, Louisiana, at the Nature Center, and Pelican Park is like the baseball fields, and the trails there are just wonderful. And I'm gonna fly over there just to check out if they're clean, or go clean them up some myself and check my route. But it should be a great event. I'm gonna spend a ton of money on food. And if anything, if you don't even like to run, I think you're going to get a lot of good value out of just paying for the entry and coming to eat and drink. And even if you do like 4 miles, I think that's great value. So
that's good stuff, man.
Plan for that to be a huge event.
So you want it to be a legit qualifier and everything, huh?
Right. I won't be a first year, and I don't know. I'm sure there's an application process, maybe once you get so many entrants, but I at least want it. I want it to be official and be all the rules, and to get it listed on the site. Yeah. That way, when somebody comes out, they know that they can kind of have a qualifier. There's different levels. There's bronze and silvers, and those are for the big races. Yeah. But that's an eventual thing. That would happen the first year.
What time of year? Just curious. What time of year are you thinking of doing it?
I'm looking at November 15th.
Okay, I was going to say, you said June or July. I'm out.
No. Yeah, in Louisiana, I think November would be ideal.
Yeah.
It'd be perfectly flat, super smooth, not technical. I just think it's the perfect LPS type course.
All right.
And I've done. I'm not good at them. We were talking. Okay.
No, go ahead.
I'm terrible at the last person standings. I've attempted to. We were talking about just keep attempting at things you're bad at till you get good at it. It's like I have the physical capability to run the distance in a last man standing, but I have major attention problems. I get bored so easy. And even I attempted one in Ouray, Colorado, and the course was just outstanding. It was down a river. It was nice. It was easy, flat, but super scenic. It was entertaining. And I just get bored of going in circles. I feel like I don't have like a final destination to get to. So I always kind of give up early. I do 100 miles and I say, okay, that's good enough. But that's my weakness. But for other people, that's, they love doing that. And it's also a great entry level. If somebody's a bit scared of going out on a 100-mile course and failing or getting stuck partway, or needing aid or assistance, something shorter than every 15 miles, they'll get it every hour.
Well, and it forces you to pace yourself. You can't go out and just like crush 15 miles at blazing speed. You got 4 miles and you got to sit down.
Yeah, there's a big strategy and a really good balance. And I haven't quite figured out. If I did it again, I know what I would do. But there's a balance of, you don't want to run too fast. Then you have 20 minutes of downtime, and that's probably too much.
Yep.
And then you're just burning matches. But if you run too slow, you don't have the time that you need. So I think you can kind of vary it based on what kind of care you need to give yourself.
Yeah.
But I guess every type of race has its own strategy to go for
So,
it. And it's a learning process. I still don't know exactly how I would do one.
I haven't done one yet. I think one of the fun things would be, and when you get down to, fewer and fewer people, it's the mental games that you play with, trying to look at the other people, like if you're in it to try to win it and see how they're doing, how they're feeling, and how you're portraying yourself. Cause you don't want to, you don't want to, I don't know, do I want to look like I'm about to give up and then crush them? Or do I want to look like I feel good when I'm feeling bad? I don't know. It's kind of like a Survivor TV series or something, the manipulation and stuff. It looks like it'd be a big part of it,
Yeah. There's a lot of positivity early on. Like I'll
Yeah.
talk to some people, and they might ask, how far you plan on going or whatever. They're fishing for info.
Yeah.
But I try not to talk up. I said, the last one I said, I'm prepared to run 200 miles, but that doesn't mean somebody out here can run it. But I'm gonna run what I can. And, then I only go 75 miles and stop. But the other guy said, I'll do it. I'll go 200 miles with you. And I'm thinking, this guy can't do that. He'll get 100 and stop. And he's the one that won the race. So,
Oh, nice. That's great.
So, yeah, I kind of misjudged him.
That's funny.
Yeah, you can tell, I was kind of pumped up. I was like, who wants to go? Like, I feel fresh. Who's ready to go another 30 miles? But then, 4 miles later, everything's different. So,
Yeah. The ups and downs of ultras,
towards late
man.
race, I try to just show up at the start line a little late, and I stand at the back, so kind of nobody. If I'm tired, I don't want anybody to see that. So I kind of hang in the back. But you can fake some incitement. I've seen people sprint off the front line, and at your race, somebody sprinted off the line and went to the playground and went down the slide or something, just to kind of be funny and have fun, but probably also to show that they had the strength and the mentality to keep going.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Just talking about mental games, and it just brought up to mind. My dad still brings up when they crewed me for Rougarou, and that was when Ed Melanson was running them out there with us, and he would do a loop, and he would sit on his tailgate every 20-mile loop, and he'd be refilling his stuff, and he'd sit there and drink a beer. He was just.
I remember that exact scenario, but I'm sure a different race, but I have a mental image of him sitting on a tailgate drinking a beer.
Yeah. And my dad, he told my dad something like, part of it is I enjoy the beer, but part of it is I'm getting in the heads of everybody else I'm racing against. It's funny. Good stuff. So, hey, I don't even know what kind of work you do, Jackson. What do you do that allows you to travel, man?
Everything I do for myself. I work for myself. My main, I wouldn't say I have any jobs, but what I do is I'm a cryptocurrency trader, a Bitcoin trader and investor.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that since I got in about 2020 or 2019, 2020. Okay. And I'm not terribly active with it all day. It just depends on where I am. I'm generally in hotel rooms most of the time. So if I have a workspace, so I'll wake up and do a little research and set my trades and strategies for the day, things I want to do. And after that, I can just work off my phone and I can travel, and just as long as I've got cell phone reception.
Yeah.
And then I've started, I won't go much into this because I could talk forever, but I do professional gambling. So I'm actually able to make a profit in the casinos, and that's my spending money. Everything, races, travel, gas, everything, every bit of money that I spend in life comes from casino profits, because my trading just stays in investments. I don't cash that out. It just keeps rolling over like retirement. But that gives me free food, free hotels. So if I'm in a town where there's a casino, I have a free place to stay. Based on my play, I get comps. And then they give me offers, and I show up and I make those collections. Like with Mississippi, I'm flying to Biloxi to make my free play collections at the casinos. And so it's worth it to fly out there and make my collections and then fly back.
Dude, I had no idea that I've never heard of that. You like living the I don't know, an interesting lifestyle, man. So what do you playing cards? Is that what you're doing?
No, it's slot machines mostly. because that's
Really?
you can actually make a profit on them. There's a way, I won't go into it, but there's this
You're gonna
and
get all
there's
kind of messages now.
yeah, it's not superstition or feel. I mean, these are machines, they're computers, and
Yeah.
there's just methods. If you know how they're programmed, or you can either reverse engineer. I'll track their behavior, and then I can kind of reverse engineer their programming. And I don't, every machine is different. It's not like I'm going to say this one's going to hit like on the next spin. It doesn't happen that way. But I know when the machine has turned into a player's favor. In the long run, they're always in the casino's favor. Like when they do the accounting at the end of the quarter,
Yeah.
the casino's going to win every time, but they don't win every day. So I just have to find the machine that's profitable for the player at that time. And that's, and over the years, I've learned that I do everything in my head pretty quickly, or I have spreadsheets online to calculate things.
Hey there, my friends. I want to pause for a second and talk to you about Magic Mind. You've heard me talk about it before. I love it because of just the natural ingredients that are in it. I want to talk to you about a few of those ingredients, man, the amazing ingredients. One of them is ashwagandha. It's known as Indian ginseng. It's been used for thousands of years for its health benefits. It's a small shrub that's native to India and North Africa, and now it's cultivated in a bunch of other countries, including the United States. And the root and the berries of the plant they're used medicinally. It's an adaptogenic herb, which means it helps the body adapt to stress and reduces the negative impact of stress on the body. Who's got stress they need adapting to, all right? It's also got turmeric in it, which is always fun to say. Turmeric has been shown to have anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and anti-cancer properties and may be effective in treating a variety of health conditions. Some say including arthritis, depression, and even heart disease. It's got turmeric. In ancient India, turmeric was used as a symbol of purity and often applied to the skin for ceremonial purposes. Just a fun fact, all right? It also has lion's mane. Lion's mane is a type of edible mushroom. It's got its name because of the way the long, shaggy appearance it resembles the mane of a lion. It's considered a superfood. It's got high levels of antioxidants, beta glucans, and other compounds that have been shown to have health benefits. And the brand Magic Mind is committed to using only the highest quality, clean ingredients. They didn't go grab lion's mane from the backyard, all right? They've got good ingredients here. And so this month, if you would like to try Magic Mind, we've got a new code. If you go to www.magicmind.com/RunTheRiotJune, that's the month June, use the code RunTheRiotJune at checkout, you get a discount. And so man, good quality, it works, and it helps you. Helps your body. We all want to be healthy, and it's just another tool for you to be healthy. Try Magic Mind, www.magicmind.com, and use code RunTheRiotJune, all one word. All right, let's get back to our show.
And then my third thing is I'm doing it for fun now is coaching. I started with my first race last year, and then I had a couple of people ask me about coaching. I have friends that ask me, hey, like, do you have a coach you'd recommend, or do you coach? And I had some certifications a long time ago. I was doing triathlon coaching, but I never kicked it off. I just got busy and I wasn't able to really focus on it. So I let it go. And I've been thinking about, getting back into the study, but I always study about it. I love the science behind it. And just with my experience, the trial and error, I think I have a lot of information to offer. So I've got the USCA certifications. It's generally kind of you may have heard of them, but they're pretty national.
I have those certifications too. Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah. So I got the USCA certification in ultra running. And when I get a little bit more time, I've got the program for endurance nutrition, sports nutrition.
I did that one too.
I've added the sports psychology. And once I get that done, I'll probably do the supplement. What I also want to know for myself is the strength training. I've always wanted more of that. I've got some workouts that I do myself, a lot of strength and mobility that I think has really helped me. But I need a lot more knowledge in that area before I tell someone else to do it. I feel like I have a ton of knowledge and experience in running. For myself, I want more knowledge in strength and mobility as well. Just to add to that, especially with ultras, like 200 milers, when you need to maintain core strength and just to be able to stay fresh and wake up fresh every day, you need that supplemental mobility work. It's not just your legs. And we'll get into Cocodona in a bit, but the biggest challenge for me at Cocodona 250 was the heavy pack. I was solo unsupported. I probably had a 30-pound pack, and just the weight of that on my shoulders, and then just throughout the spinal column, it's a lot of extra fatigue.
Oh yeah, 100%. What was your first 200?
Oregon 223.
How was it?
Super beautiful. The trails are just so nice. They're plush. Most of the course, it's an out and back, which I love being solo unsupported because I
Yeah,
get double access to my drop bags.
yeah.
So if I don't want to change shoes at this mile, then I'm coming back to it. And that gives me
Mhm.
the opportunity to access gear, shoes, whatever. Or I can drop a jacket, in the morning, and I know I'm going to be back before dark and I can get it back again. So a lot of like point to point courses, if I got to drop gear or I pass gear, it's gone forever. I don't have the crew to shuttle that forward for me. But I love the out and back format. The trails are incredibly nice. It's shaded. It is Oregon, so it's pleasant. We had a warm year. I can't say it's hot, but there were fires nearby which dried the air out. So it had very dry air and it was kind of warm that day, but it was shaded. And I
Yeah.
didn't hit the exposed section. There's kind of a long dirt road. You have to connect two major river trails, and I hit that at night. So that was pretty.
That's good.
Most people kind of go through at night anyway.
Yeah.
But it's super beautiful, and I intend to go back this year. But with the high prevalence and risk of fires in the Pacific Northwest, I wait until the last minute to register. Last year, the race was canceled because of fires on the course. So
Yeah.
I'll wait till the last week.
Well,
I had a great experience. It was super
yeah.
motivating for me, and it actually gives me a lot more confidence than the 100 milers. When you spend, Oregon was 69 hours for me. It wasn't a good race. I was still eighth. I was still in the front, but 69 hours is a long time.
Yeah.
And Cocodona 250, I switched. I was not competitive at that race. I decided pretty much the night before, the night of, I said, do you know what? I'm going to do this super low stress, and I'm going to do this like an adventure. I
Yeah.
turned it in. I went from a race to a multi-day adventure mentally. And I just stayed so positive during the race. And I think that's why I performed so well. But that was, for me, was 115 hours. And
Yeah.
I felt great just because I just took my time. So after finishing Cocodona 250, which is actually 258 miles with like maybe 35,000 feet of gain, and we had terrible weather, storms, and a little bit of snow. There was some flooded sections. Doing a 20-hour 100 miler is pretty easy after that. In mentally, you're
Yeah.
pushing
Yeah.
harder, but you're capable of it. Like, hey, I've just done races that are 5 days long. I can't let myself quit just because I'm tired at 15 hours or something.
I want to camp there for a little bit because what you said, like I DNF'd my first shot at Moab, the 240, and then when I went back, I did the same thing, exactly the same mentality that you're talking about for Cocodona, like just wanting to enjoy it, adventure, wasn't stressing over how, just I'm gonna get this done. And same thing. I stayed positive the whole time. Did pretty good, and didn't get totally wrecked. First time I went, David Goggins was running it, and I was in good shape, and I was like, hashtag beat Goggins, and just nutrition was the issue, and but DNF, but went back and just had a great experience, and I just can relate to that. Mindset is so, I mean, and I know if you're pushing and you're trying to perform, that's one thing, but it's amazing how your mindset can shape the race in comp, whether you're pushing hard and competing or just taking it slow. Either one of those, if you get negative, you can derail your whole race just by, man, I still got 100 miles to go, or I still have 50 miles to go, and I've just run 50 and I feel wrecked already instead of pushing through. I don't know, how has your, you got your nutrition figured out and stuff, but how has your mindset evolved, to be more resilient, to help you push through?
In previous years, I consider myself extremely mentally weak. I would just give up way too easy. My goals were frivolous in a way, but I started studying stoic philosophy, and I've adapted that into running. So naturally, when I came out of, I was always racing in my running career of sorts. I kind of started late. I didn't run in college or high school. I ran in my 20s. I just did 5Ks, and I wasn't even that fast of a 5K runner. I didn't really start becoming competitive in a sense, podium races until my 30s. Didn't do my first marathon until I was probably 35 or so. But
You're
when I was doing
45 now, right?
yeah. So yeah, maybe I've 12. I think it really started kicking off like 20, 2015 with competitive races. Yeah, so 10 or 12 years really I've been at it. But when I was in triathlons, I was winning age groups and podium, and then I'd do 5Ks and, win age groups. When I got into ultras, I started winning overall. And so really like early in the career, I had this pathway and this mindset of winning and setting PRs or, ranking and play. And those were my goals. Like, hey, this is what place I want to be or what rank I want to be. And I've learned like over the year, and it took me a lot. It took me until like just this year, just with this extra study and like mentality. In earlier races, if I wasn't doing well or I wasn't placing, if I missed my time goal, if I fell out of the podium, I would give up, or maybe I'd just slow down because all my goals are gone. Like the A goal's gone, the B goal's gone, the C goal's gone. And some people, and what I'm about to say seems completely obvious to people that are naturally back of the packers. But it's that cliche, like I want to have fun or whatever. I always thought that was kind of silly. But now it's like I have more appreciation for it. And so what I've learned myself, and absolutely what I'm teaching anybody now or what I'm coaching now, is to set goals that you can control. Don't set it for, I can't say like don't push for a time, but I think it's really bad to set a place goal like I'm going to win or I'm going to be. You have no clue. You might could assess what your competition, what type of runner they are, but they could have the best run of their life. You could have your best run that you've ever had, but they could have their best run and still beat you.
Yeah.
And you don't know who's going to show up. There's always mystery people. And if you show up thinking that you're going to lead the race and 5 random people show up and now you're 6th place, it could really, really kill your mentality if that was your only goal, right? Like, what are you going to fall back to? And so I set goals that are absolutely 100% within my control. And Cocodona was 250 was the the first time I really laid it out with only those goals. Since I had no intention of competing, I had probably put myself, I was like, there's 20 people faster than me. So I said, I'm just going to enjoy it. This is a big race. It takes a long time. A whole lot of things can go wrong. So what can I control? So I said, it's an excellent event. It's going to be extremely difficult to get into. It's probably going to be a lottery next year. So this is my probably one of the few chances or only chance I have to do it. I can't risk something in DNF. So I want to really enjoy the course. It's extremely scenic. I want to take the time to just enjoy the beauty, enjoy being out there. I want to have a positive mentality, avoid negativity in the race, avoid self-doubt, not let my confidence get down, just always just have such a positive vibe all the way through the race. And that's something you can continually work through. Even if you're feeling sick or just things are terrible or you have an injury, your leg hurts or you're moving slow, still be positive about it. Then you go with your strategy for problem solving. But one thing about like stoic learning things in stoic philosophy is you really, when harm is done to you, the majority of the time it's done, like I do it to myself. If I'm harmed, like if things are going bad in a race, it's not other runners that are hurting me. It's me getting upset about having a bad race or being sick. And then I get upset and then it's a seed, it's a negative seed that grows into more negativity. And then I say, oh, I can't do this, or I don't want to do this. And now I've just hurt myself. I've knocked myself out of the race, and it's my own fault because of the way that I'm thinking. And I think, that's probably something about this positivity is completely obvious to a lot of people that have figured this out a long time ago. But me, naturally, I'm not a super, super duper positive, cheery person. So that's something I had to work through. And it worked with Cocodona. I had those goals and I accomplished despite being, and I was still probably half of the pack because a lot of people actually finished in the very last 10 hours. So there was still 80 people behind me. Yeah. But, with 115 hours, that's basically back of the pack. And that was the best experience race I've ever had. And every day got better. The first day was really rough because we had bad weather. And even though I took it easy, I still screwed up my nutrition a bit, my hydration. I just let it lapse, but I had to reset. But second day, I felt great. Third day, I felt incredible. And the fourth day, I was just running free, passing everyone, probably passed, or the last day, whatever day, however many days it was, I passed 80 people, I think. And I felt when I headed out, I was 40 miles away from the finish line. And I felt like it was a brand new race. Like I had no miles left on my legs. And it's
cool.
because
That's a cool feeling.
I had zero negativity throughout the entire race. And that just kept me going. And there's this psychosomatic response that if you get negative in your head, if you get doubtful in your head, your body will perform way below its potential, even if there's nothing wrong with it. So that's the big thing is set goals that you have absolute control of. And it doesn't matter how your race turns out. Like I said, I was slow, but I accomplished my goals and I'm extremely happy. And the alternate side of that is I've had races where I've set a course record, I've won the race, but I was miserable, not just because the race was hard. I got negative maybe, and I, was cussing at rocks and mad at things. And I look back and I said, I had a terrible experience. People would say, oh, but you won. But I created this terrible mindset and I didn't enjoy it. And so a lot of times, and I've heard other runners say this, and I think it's wonderful. If they can just say, I don't care what time I get, I don't care what place I get, as long as I can just stick to the goals I've set. Execute my strategy is another one. You have your nutrition strategy or your pacing strategy. If you can stick to that and execute your plan, that's another great goal to have. Execution is very difficult, but it's a great goal and it's a very satisfying goal when you get it done. That's all about. That's what I love to try to share with new people to just keep people positive in races. There's a lot of self-doubt. I can't do this, and they quit or they get disappointed with how the first 40 miles went and they quit. I do it a lot. I quit a lot, and I think that helps me. I know what it's like to DNF races. I probably have 15 DNFs. I have 130 races. So my DNF rate isn't high, but I'm proud of my DNFs. It's a big learning experience. So.
Yeah. When I think of, positivity and running and stuff, I often think of, tell people, look at Courtney Dauwalter, she's suffering out there a lot of time, but she controls her, she'll still tell a joke or be positive and smile. And, and I think she kind of embodies that, I don't know, ethos of just staying positive in the middle of suffering. You can control your mindset. You just have to choose.
Right.
How am I going to respond to this?
Yeah, there's a lot of, I always say in training, this is another cliche, but in training, the listen to your body, I think is great. Based on your recovery and how you feel, you can train harder on days you feel good, take rest days when you need it. But in races, don't listen to your body. Your body lies to you. You have your mind and your brain, and they're separate. I consider them separate. And your mind is something you control. That's the mental strength, your toughness, whether it's natural or something that you work to, but your mind is your push, your drive, your willpower. Your brain is in the physical sense, it's just managing your body, right? It's you're out running and your brain's saying, hey, we're tired. Blood sugar levels are low and all these problems are, and it's going to find, this is a bad idea. We shouldn't be doing this. Or, your leg pain, you have leg pain. It tells your brain. So your brain is, and I've experienced in this races, I feel these pains that come out of nowhere, pains that I've never had, and they seem real. And you think, oh, I'm injured. I just broke my foot. Or now I have IT band pain coming on. And you think, what's wrong with me? Oh, and you quit thinking, I'm going to injure. I don't want to be injured because I have another race coming and blah, blah. People always say, listen to your body. I don't want to be injured and think it, there are some cases, but I'm pretty confident like 90% of the time it's a ghost pain. It's a false pain your brain is creating or amplifying. Maybe it's a little nagging something, and it's a way to get your body to stop and rest. And you just got to say, hey, you're lying to me. I'm not going to fall for your trick. And every time I've had some DNFs thinking I was injured. And then after the race, an hour later, I'm like, what happened to the severe leg pain I was having? It's gone. And then the next day, absolutely nothing. Everything's gone. I'm like, what was it? It's just a fallacy. So, and I really believe that you got to get through that. And it just takes experience of recognizing, and it's tough, not everybody is an experienced physical therapist that can diagnose themselves on the trail. It's tough to tell the difference between a lie and a true injury. But that's where you go based on your history. If you got a history of Achilles injuries, okay, that's probably a real pain if you're feeling it again. But if you've never had that history and don't trust it.
Had it this past weekend running 100 miles here in Tulsa. I don't know, 40 miles in or something. My calf, and that's happened before. I'm like, oh, this feels really bad. did I just tear my calf? Because I've torn my calf muscle before. Did I, whatever. And then you just kind of, no, you know what? I can keep running. It's not that bad. If it gets worse, and then it was nothing for the whole rest of the race. Like it was gone, and it was really bad for a little while, And so, yeah, I've experienced that too. So most of the time, if you just kind of steady the course, maybe make some adjustments a little bit and just don't give into it right away, then it becomes a nothing burger and you just finish your race.
Right. Yeah. And that's where a lot of confidence experience happens, or otherwise, you kind of have to just trust it. But that's the difference between another podcast I did with Zach Fote and I'm blanking on the other guy's name. But we just talked about like the four, parts of ultra running. And let's see, one was problem solving. We haven't really discussed that, but when you experience an adversity in a race, or you're getting sick, or you're getting tired, try to have a plan. I used to never have plans for those situations.
Yeah.
I would think, I'll just deal with that when I get to it. But you really need ABC plan, whatever. And approach these and don't get upset. If you fall back on pace, if you're cramping or whatever, don't get upset about that. Start thinking about your plan. How am I going to resolve this and fix the problem? But also, like, some problems just don't get fixed. I had sleep issues twice at Badwater, and I couldn't resolve them. I'm like, I don't know. Naps aren't working. Caffeine's not working. So I just had to I would push through the fatigue sometimes, and then sometimes I would sleep. And I'm like, I don't really know what else to do. I'm going to do more reading and research. Maybe there's something leading up. But in that race, I just said, I'm just going to just do my best at attempting this and hope one of these naps will be the last one. And both years, one of those naps, that was the last one. And then I did another, like say 10 hours of the lap, feeling absolutely alert. And I didn't do anything to fix it. It's just like, eventually it just worked.
Yeah.
You just kind of put your faith in your plan and solve the problems. Don't get upset about how it set you back. And it's made you stronger. It's giving you more experience to know how to fix it next time. We already talked about mentality, and I say that's the biggest one. I rank mentality over fitness. I might even rank problem solving for 100 and 200 milers, especially 200 milers. I'd rank problem solving probably is the second highest. I might even rate fitness as the lowest, because as I'm seeing, 100 milers for competitive runners are still incredibly fast. 200 milers, it really levels out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's obviously really fast times and fast runners that are setting great times, but the best performances are done by the best problem solvers and the best and the most positive people. Because even what I noticed at Cocodona, and I'm not being, I don't want to be too critical of elites that drop out, because I don't know their exact, like situation or what their plan was. But I will say objectively, what I noticed is that elite runners at Cocodona are really fast, people that I consider top 20, top 10 capability. None of them that I know of finished mid to back of the pack. Like if they were 70 hour or below runners, none of them kind of just stuck it out and finished at 110. Yeah. If they had problems, they DNF'd. Courtney Dauwalter, she's not weak. She's super mentally tough. She DNF'd. Whatever I've heard multiple things. She was borderline hypothermic. She had low nutrition. So it was serious, whatever it was.
Right.
But that is something that I noticed early on. And I'm not saying they don't have the mental toughness, but people that are kind of naturally mid-pack or back of the pack, I think, have a different type of mental toughness, right? When they have a problem, and say they're an 80-hour 200-mile runner, and they have problems, they have that mental toughness and that ability to step out. I don't care if I'm last place, they're still going to finish. And so I witnessed that. I think, it's a different type of toughness. The leaders have that pain cave toughness, ability to be able to suffer pain for long times. But I think mid-pack and back of the pack have the toughness to drive, to just keep going through adversity, to accept big setbacks and take time to sleep 8 hours and not feel like the race is over. So, there's a big diversity in that, but that's where I say the 200-mile races, mental toughness or mental mentality would be the top. Your ability to problem solve. If you can't fix a problem on day one of a 200 miler, you're probably going to be done. You got to fix it and move on, and you're going to have a different problem every day. And nutrition is the big one. But you can generally work through things if you're dehydration, salting, whatever. You can actually fix those pretty quickly, unless it gets severe. Hyponatremia or whatever. We're talking about something that's not a medical crisis. You can fix with a nap and a good meal. And then that's why I'm putting in things over, starting with Badwater, tough races. I'd say races that are generally most of the fields finishing 30 to 40 hours. Fitness is going to be the lowest. I see it all the time. I see people thinking, they're either older, they're overweight. They're thinking this guy's, he's a walker, he's a hiker, but he's tough and he's got a great strategy. And you don't need that. If you've got great mentality and you've got a race execution, you're going to finish with a pretty good time, even if you're halfway through. So that's what I'm saying. And I came into Badwater. I'm not fit. I'm not fast. I'm 20 pounds overweight. But when I was running, I could run really well, and I was running a good pace. My other problems caused me a lot of downtime. So I've just breaking the race down into different things. That'd be another tip. Categorize your race in those ultras and have plans. So everyone has their fitness plan, right? That's kind of obvious. And they have the nutrition plan. But the less obvious ones are the problem solving and the mentality.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, one of the things about problem solving, I tell runners a lot to, try to have a plan for everything. Because they're going to, like you just said that, there are going to be things that come up that you don't plan for. But if like, okay, X happened, well, here's the plan for when X happens. Y happened, this is the plan for when Y happens. Because decision fatigue and runner brain's a real thing. If you already know, okay, this is going on, I do this, you don't have to think about it. You just execute. And then when that crazy thing happens that you didn't plan for, then you still have you're not all decision fatigued out, and you can start trying to use your mental faculties for those things, so it's good to think through the race as much as you can, because things are going to happen that you got to deal with that you can't think of. So, don't think about those during the race. Just do it. Nice. Well, so you got, you did the Oregon 200. What other 200s have you done? I know you did Cocodona. What other one did you do? You did one before Cocodona or before Badwater.
So I've had 3. Oregon was over a year ago. Last year I was going to go back last year because I love the course. I wanted to improve my time. I had severe blister issues held me back, but I did Viper 200, which was the first year for that. Okay. Yeah, James Bowler, he's done Mamba trail racing. He's put on the Mamba 100 for several years now. Maybe it's had 3 years running. The Viper series races was the first year this year. So there was a 200 mile, 100 mile, and I think it was 55K or something of that, close to that distance. And the original plan was, it's an awesome course. It's extremely well designed. I loved it. It's a 33-mile loop with a mixture of, you get flat, flowy trail along this Wolf River. And then there's a little bit more hilly. It's not technical, but it's just got little bumps and, switchbacks and things. I think that's like the Wolf River. That's not the Wolf River trails. I don't know all the trail names, but there's like a 6 or 8 mile section that's like that. And then there's bike path. There's a section around a big, beautiful lake. You have a path that runs near like a bison farm. So you can wander around different areas. So you'll run by the little bison herd occasionally, and you can run through an orchard for a section. So an extremely diverse course he's got set up. And at 33 miles, it's not, I think it's still really entertaining. Yeah. We had torrential rainstorms. I got like 40 or 50 miles in the first day before the race had to be stopped. We had lightning storms and rainstorm coming. They stopped before the storms. The park shut us down. And so we all had to go back to the hotel and hang out. And fortunately, they restarted the race the next morning. So great race execution, the ability to continue the race without, just canceling it all together. So most people got 30 to 40 something miles in the first day. And then we didn't start over. We picked up, they notated our mileage, and we started again the second day. And then we ran through, it stormed again, rained all day, and typical southern rains, like, I don't know, inches upon inches. The Wolf River flooded over its banks. So we moved on to a different trail. Then that trail flooded. So then we moved back to the bike pass, but they did an excellent job of of moving us around, keeping everybody safe and not getting washed away. And I think at mile 100, we went strictly to the bike paths. And even those, some of them were flooded, but they were just puddles that we'd have to stomp through. So it was actually, it made it a lot more fun. We had all these obstacles, right?
Yeah.
And what I witnessed, I haven't done a ton of, I've just done 3, but the longer distance you go, like I said, you dip into that people with that more positive mentality, that people with just finish or just have a great time. And there's less people with, I want to run this time or I want to try to win. There's a lot less of that.
Yeah.
So when we have these torrential rains flooded, everyone's wet. You're cold when it's night, you're hot when it's the day. It's like there's so many troubles. There's so many reasons for people to quit. And nobody was quitting. Like everybody was smiling and they're laughing. And it seems so terribly miserable. But I just saw so much positivity and excitement out there.
Yeah.
And even on the course, like people were having fun, like at Mississippi 100 when the trails were flooded like 2 years ago. I think anybody that was going to drop out either didn't start the race or they dropped the first loop, right? When they couldn't get through the floods. Everybody that kept going was having a great time and swimming through the course.
Nice.
So, so that was a long description of the Viper 200, but I won that. I did it on a 20-minute nap, like around mile 100 or so. I slept 20 minutes. And then I was great. And I felt so alert and so awake. I didn't have any problems. My feet since they were wet the entire time, they got a little chapped on the bottom, but really no problems. So I was first place in that race and then set me up for being really confident for Cocodona. And then Cocodona was my third. And in 2 weeks, I'll do Summit 200. It's around kind of in the Aspen area, south of I-70, but the middle part of Colorado. And
that looks
it
beautiful.
stays at, I don't know the exact, I think the lowest point might be 9,000 feet. And then it pops at around 13,000 feet several times. And, 40 something thousand feet a gain. And the record time on that now is 88 hours. It's not incredibly fast, but it's not a fast course.
Right.
But I'm going to try to do a little bit of mixture. I want to push myself. I'm not going to intentionally take the max time, but I am going to challenge myself. But I'm going to stay within that zone of goals that I say I want to execute well. I want to be positive. This is going to be an incredibly beautiful course. I want to enjoy that. And I don't want to ruin any of that by being disappointed at my performance or being sick so I'm going to place all those first. And I think if I execute well and manage well, the good performance will follow.
Yeah.
And I'll do Oregon 200 again. There's other things that I'd like to do.
Nice. Well, I saw for Summit, well, it's, it looks fantastic and I'm hoping to jump into that and do it one day. Do you, having done a few 200s already, are you planning kind of a sleep strategy or are you just going to kind of sleep as needed? What are your thoughts on that? Just curious.
Yeah. With the 200s, no one has that figured out. I rub shoulders with a ton of the elites. Like I've made friends with a lot of them. I was being coached by Jeff Brown. Jeff Browning coached me up until Cocodona 250. And he's got with his FKTs, the long trail FKTs like Colorado. And I don't know if he's ever attempted Arizona, but everyone has kind of a different opinion. And it's just like shoes or nutrition. It's trial and error, and it's going to be different for everyone. But the common advice is you should do your best to try to get sleep the first night. Don't skip the first night. Like whatever sleep you think you need the first night, do it. Because once you're starting into that deficit, you're going to have to sleep more often. You're going to feel bad. It's just going to hurt you. Go ahead and take that. And it takes practice to figure out what time is good for you. A lot of runners benefit from 5 or 10 minute naps. They don't do much for me. A perfect time for me, well, there's multiples, but 20 to 30 minutes do really well for me. 90 minutes, if I'm going to do a 200 miler, like an overnight sleep, 90 minutes is ideal. That is one cycle. So I try to stay in the cycle times, 90 minutes, 3 hours, whatever. And with the 200s, assuming you're ahead of cutoffs not perfectly, if later on, if you've got the cutoff time, I won't even set an alarm. I just go to sleep. And then when I wake up, that's when I get up. And if I wake up naturally like that, then my body feels ready to go. And that worked incredibly well for me at Cocodona. For 200s, you can also plan if you think impending weather is coming or you know you're going to summit this late night. maybe sleep a little lower in the valley or whatever, and when it's warmer, and do the summit in the daytime. So you can plan out your sleep strategy based on what parts of the course you're doing. At Cocodona, twice we were trying to do some very difficult mountain summit type areas. Mingus Mountain is a difficult traverse, and storms were coming in. So I made sure to get to Mingus to the camp, and that's where I slept. I took 3 hours there and completely reworked my feet. A huge rainstorm came in, lots of wind. It was terrible for anybody on the mountain, but that's when I executed my sleeps.
Nice.
That's the point on that is sleep when you need it. Make sure you get enough. Time it with either the where you are in the course or the weather. And you just have to play it by feel. Like, I don't think it really works to say, I'm going to sleep at exactly this time.
Right.
Because if you're feeling wide awake, you just got to keep pushing. But definitely try to get some sleep before the first 24 hours, before that next sun comes up.
Yeah, I agree with that. I when I did Moab, I set just in my chart, because I do the spreadsheet thing or whatever, like 3 hours a night, just put it in there. And so the first night I laid down, my wife was crewing me, and 45 minutes I popped up. Man, I felt fantastic. And so I was like, all right, I'm out. Why lay around for another couple hours, and I felt fantastic. The next night I laid down, and it took a couple hours, and I popped up. I was like, I feel great. Let's go. Now the last night I needed all 3 hours, and then I had to get out of there. But anyway, it was just on feel. Like, why, if I felt good after a little bit, then keep, get out there and keep going. And that's the way to do it.
At Oregon 200, the first night I was trying the 10-minute naps, and I wasted a lot of time just laying down in the dirt. And I probably had six failed attempts at 10 and 15-minute naps. And I got to a big aid station at mile 90, and I was freezing cold. And so I got my jackets and my cold weather gear, because I was a little bit behind schedule. I was moving slower. And I said, I'm going to sleep until the sun comes up. And it was about 90 minutes or a little bit more. But when I woke up at mile 90, I felt absolutely fresh. I had 0 miles on me. Like, this is the start of a new race. And when I headed out on that trail, like, I had to hold back. I was like, I shouldn't be running an 8:30 pace right now at mile 90 on trail. But I just felt, in the same thing the next night. I was like, hey, that 90 minutes worked great. So the second night I took another 90 minutes, and I woke up and I was able to, like, compete and pass more people. I just felt perfect again.
Nice.
But every race is different, like, you can kind of pick what works for you, but the situations are going to change. And that's what I experienced a lot is, I think I have a plan, but the race is different. And then what worked in the last race isn't working this time.
Yeah.
So you just got to, I guess, roll with it, adapt. The adaptability is
Yeah.
got to be good.
Well, you'll be racing against the Summit 200. I saw Candace is going to be in it, Candace Burt, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, that's kind of like when you said beat Goggins. I was like, beat Candace. I don't really like
Candace.
Yeah, you're right. I just kind of pick the celebrities or something, like people that I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's not that I need to compete with her or anything, but I don't know. Just random people that sometimes I have fun with to say, oh, I got to beat this person. Usually I go for the social media influencers.
Yeah.
To see if I can beat them or not. But
yeah, I had Taylor Spike on this is a long time ago on the podcast, and we both ran the Tahoe 200, and we were both on the Ultras red team, they're in whatever team, and we were both on it. And so we were talking. He said, how you look through and look at the entries and find people around your level where somebody to beat? And I said, yes, we kind of look and see what the competition is. He said, dude, you were my guy. He told me that during the podcast. He said, you were the guy I wanted to beat. I was like, well, you did. You beat me. So it's like, it was good. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, and like, one other quick topic is I race a lot, but I'm kind of embracing more of the crewing and pacing. So a few weeks ago, I paced a friend at Tahoe 200. So I got 40 miles there. I love the Tahoe trails. I was living there for several years. And I'm not a fan of destination trail races, but if that course goes back to a full loop around the lake, I'll probably sign up again. I don't like signing up a year in advance.
Right.
Like a lottery and then paying a year ahead of time. Being an investor, my money is better. It's better off in Bitcoin to be tripled up instead of giving it to the race. She's a Bitcoin investor.
Yeah.
I don't want her tripling up on my race fee.
She's making money off of your entry fee, dude, for a year.
That $1 million in revenue is going to Bitcoin for a year. So That's what I do. I like to register for races late. I might change my mind or something.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I
but
have
I
to
want to
say
pace more
that's a
often.
beautiful course. That is,
Yeah.
especially when it goes around, like they need to, whatever they need to do to get it to do the full course. I would say it's worth it to do the full course.
Right.
Yeah.
And next week, I was so tempted to do Ura 100. Like I said, I wanted big challenges this year.
Yeah.
But that was hard to overcome. I said, all right, I've got Badwater, and then Ura would be next weekend, and then Summit 200. I was like, all right, I want to have a good performance. I want to feel good for Summit. I can't put Ura 100 before that. So, but I found I have a friend out there. So I'm like, I'm going to crew and I'm going to pace her. So I get to do some of the course. I don't have to pay the $500 entry. So I get to still experience the race, and I'll try Ura next year or something when the schedule's a little bit better. So and I'm in Leadville. I'm going to crew and pace a friend at Leadville. So I get to experience that without the stress of running 100 miles for that. So I'm going to incorporate a whole lot more of that. I just have such a good time crewing and pacing, and I don't get the FOMO like I'm missing out on doing the race. I get to experience it without the load and fatigue of doing races all the time.
When you get to give back, because like, especially, I know you do some of these races, you do a lot of them solo, but like for Badwater.
All of them. Yeah. Badwater is required, but.
Yeah, Badwater, you know, you had some people, and I do most of my stuff pretty solo too, unless I can get my wife out there. But like Badwater, you know, you got your people out there that give their time to come and help you. And so, yeah, you can go help others. And like you said, just be a part of their journey.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And, let's see. Oh, right before Summit, I'm going to go up and crew Michael DeMarco. He's doing Crazy Mountain 100.
Oh,
so I'll drive to Montana. So I've got multiple crew. Like I said, every weekend I'm doing something. I'm either pacing or racing, but.
Nice. Keep you fresh, get your legs ready for Summit.
Yep. And I haven't built my website yet. This is probably the last topic, but unless you have something else to ask. But I'll get the Rougarou Running site up soon, and I'll share that on social media. But I'll share a lot of the race plans. I'd like to host 3 or 4 races this next year. By Rougarou Running is kind of the name of the little company I've made. And Live Oak Ultra 50K will happen again. Should be quite a bit bigger. Last year, it'll be the race entry maybe around 50 or $60, but last year I only charged $20. And basically you could just pay the $20 and not even run and get $30 in free beer and food is what I gave out.
Nice. Sounds like a deal. Dude.
Yeah. And that was the secret, is you could just get 2 free beers and tacos for $20 and you didn't have to run, but everyone still ran. And it pretty much 100% finisher rate. That's a great course. Everybody had a great time. So I'm doing that again. That's either the last weekend in January or the first weekend in February, that February time. And the last person standing, I aim for November 15th. And I want to do a little 5 and 10 mile. Once I get that one set, I'm going to do a little 5 and 10 mile race in Gaucher, like a little trail race in a state park. And that'll be like kind of a little fun run. Just it won't be an ultra, of course. Eventually, I probably won't get it, but I'm going to research it. I'd like to host something like a 25 and 50 miler in North Mississippi on the Noxubee trails north of Starkville. That's a wonderful trail network up there. And I've only run a few miles of it. So this fall, I want to get up there and really explore the trails and see if I can make a great course up there. So I've got a lot of great ideas, and I'm gonna build my website and put all the information, and to let anyone else know, I'm expanding the coaching. I've certified. I'm expanding the certifications, and I
Nice.
feel like I have a lot of knowledge to share. The athletes I'm coaching now are doing excellent, winning or podium. But you don't have to be a fast runner. I've got experience at the back of the pack now, and I think I've got a lot to share with any type of runner. So I'm building that. I'm gaining new athletes. I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I think I've got a great rate and a lot to offer, and a lot of personalization that I can give to someone. So hopefully I'll get my website going up and start really publicizing that. But anybody can follow me on Instagram it's Rougarou Running. And it's kind of a picture of a werewolf, but I'll put that in the comments, or you can include
Yeah,
that
I'll put the link in the description of the podcast. So for everybody that doesn't know, that's not from South Louisiana, what's a Rougarou?
Yeah, it's kind of the history of it. Basically, a werewolf, either Rougarou or Lougarou. So it's a swamp werewolf. The story was created to scare bad children into being good. And yeah, it's just kind of like the Pacific Northwest has their Sasquatch, and other parts of the country have the Yeti. There's a Mogollon monster in Arizona, and the southern Louisiana has the Lougarou.
Yeah.
And I've been using the Rougarou name for many years. This was my Strava tag.
Oh, I didn't
And
realize that. That's
and
good.
I love it. It just goes with the business and the name and my persona, the wolf and the werewolf, and just a super quick, like, that's the thing on mentality. What I learned from Jeff Browning, he says, when I want to dig deep late in the race, he's got the Bronco Billy thing. So he says, the Bronco's in the stable, and when I need to like kick it up and really be competitive late in the race, I let the Bronco out, let him run, and it's just a cool mental trick to find this extra strength that you need. And so I save that sometimes. If I'm going to attack late race and be strong, I let the wolf out, and
Nice.
or I let the Rougarou out. It goes and collects souls and takes bodies.
There you
So
go.
taking souls. In some races, I feel so great, I don't even do it. But I forgot to let the Rougarou out. But no, I had a great run.
I love it.
So that's another tip. Find your spirit animal or something you can connect with, and something to have fun with when you're feeling really down and you need the strength. Just let your spirit animal out and let it go, and it'd be amazed how well you perform. It doesn't last the whole race, but it can get you through to the next aid station when you really need it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, man, hey, great job. It's been fun watching your progression in the sport, and you just tackling the longer races and just crushing it. And it's been really fun. And I'm looking forward to. I'll be following along with Summit. I love the Ultraverse guys. They are fantastic, and it's fun watching their races grow and people doing them. And so we'll be watching dots and seeing where you are and where Candace is.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess there's a tracking link that I'm sure they'll have something posted up.
Yeah, I think he does the same kind of track. I think it's I don't know if it's the same company, but I believe pretty sure he's got tracking links out there and all. But well,
Yeah, I'm
but
always
I'll
timid. I'm not superstitious at all. I'm very scientific and analytic, but I do have this nagging superstition that usually when I tell people about races or I share follow me type stuff, I do terrible.
well
And the
I'll
races
share it
where,
for you.
yeah, right. So I'll probably share that. People love following the 200 miler stuff. It's just
Yeah,
entertaining just to log in and check and see what's going on. And I get a lot of support, and that is really motivated. Like even if I'm back of the pack, there's a lot of motivation. And so I just know people are out there having a good time and being inspired. And with Cocodona, there's several people that signed up because I ran it, because they followed me, and now they're going to do the race next year. And there's a lot of satisfaction on that. What I did got somebody else to do it
yeah.
too, to do a new distance.
Well, I find out people that I didn't even know knew I was running, or people in my periphery or whatever, and like, we followed you that whole race. We were checking it out, and it's like, really, like, me, you followed me. So it's pretty,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
it's cool and humbling and inspiring at the same time. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm going to try to post a little bit more videos, some scenic videos, just updates. I don't do a whole lot of I'm at mile 20, I'm at mile 21, I'm at mile 22.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I love maybe like twice a day, a really scenic area, give a little update about the race and what I've experienced. And people love those videos.
Yeah, share the journey, man. I think you're getting to do something really cool, and it's a race I want to do. So I'll be following along. I'd love to see part of how you experience it and what it's like, and just for my benefit and my inspiration to finally sign up. So
Yep. Yeah, I recommend it. Yeah.
well, cool, man. Well, hey, thanks for jumping on, and you got a lot on the calendar, so I think we'll probably do it again one day and catch up on all the races you do after this.
Yeah, yeah, I loved it. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. I love sharing what I know. Sometimes I think I have a hard time getting it out, but it's great to at least talk about it, remind myself.
Yeah, I preach to the choir all the time, man. Tell myself the things that I should be doing while I'm talking to somebody else.
Yeah, right.
All right, man. Well, I'll let you get back at it, but thanks again for jumping on, brother.
Okay. Appreciate it.
All right.